Welcome back. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year. We made it through 2022, which is a miracle because a lot of us have had challenges, and the business of healthcare is getting more complicated, more challenging. We have a new COVID surge, so life is pretty messed up right now. So my reason for doing these classes is to offer what I can. I belong to a group on Facebook about the challenges of what we are experiencing in long-term care, because I am still a practitioner in the long-term care area where I caught COVID in 2020. I recovered, thank God. But with staffing shortages, a reduction in manpower, in employees, we've lost quite a few employees to COVID. And some people have just decided they don't want to do this anymore. I was watching another video of a family nurse practitioner, and they're leaving the profession too, at least that particular type of healthcare delivery, because they're just so burnt out. So a lot of us are burnt out. Whew. And we thought we were burnt out before, but COVID has added a whole different level and a different layer to the complexity of what we do. But at the end of the day, we still need people to care for our elderly, because we as a society in America do not have an alternative to healthy aging. If you don't have money, you don't have family to take care of you, you end up in a nursing home. And a lot of people don't have a choice. My job as a psych NP is to, especially in the beginning when I have a patient who comes in because they had an acute episode in the hospital, and they send them to rehab, and then it turns out they cannot return home. So I have a whole process of adjustment and depression and anger and resentment and mood disorders that come with that whole new model of living, which is not what anybody wants. I remember when I was in England and I was learning about the NHS and their healthcare system, I was really surprised because one of the instructors, the mentor that I had, was saying, oh, we don't have that problem in England, because the older person is programmed to, when it's time to, they can take care of themselves, they need more assistance with ADLs, that they themselves make the decision to move into an assisted living, understanding that it might lead to long-term care. Their whole system, because they pay into the NHS, which is the national healthcare system, when you get older, that different living model is included. So it's expected that that's where they're gonna go. And I did not go to one of them. I don't know if they have the same challenges that we have. I was watching a program yesterday. They were saying in Germany, because people are not having a lot of babies, people are living longer because of technology and improvement in health, but then they don't have enough nurses to care for them, so they have to import nurses internationally. Well, in long-term care here in these Americas, I don't hear much about them importing nurses from other areas. What they do, we bring in agency nurses who typically make more money, causes strife and resentment, between the regular staff and the agency. And it's not warranted, because administration usually they do not want to pay a CNA $1 or more an hour. I'm sure the math comes to the point where it's more lucrative for them to use the agency, but it breaks something. It creates so much strife and reduces the employee morale and their commitment to the facility. I just wish they would understand that the few dollars that they are saving, it's causing more problem. But we also know that the people who operate long-term care facilities are businessmen. They're business people, and they are in it to make a profit. So when I hear a lot of people saying it's all about profit, having been a business owner, it's not always all about profit. But can an operator be okay with having, let's say, a 10% net profit versus if I cut a few things here and there, I can get to 30%, 35%? It's business. These are the Americas where people make decisions. The business model is about making money. So lesson 3, let's say we did lesson 1, 2, and 3. So today I want to talk about, because this series is about training new supervisors or new DONs or even some season 1. It's not necessarily to teach you how to use point-click care, because this is something you're going to learn as you go. But the soft skills, the personal skills, the people skills, the other skills that you're going to need to kind of help you make it. And I'm not even going as far as saying thriving, because to thrive, you have to have an environment that encourages your growth. And all I read about is how administration doesn't care. They don't give a flip about the employees. They have all these agency people coming in. They're dealing with COVID. So it's pretty bad in those SNFs. You can have a few facilities. People are fighting over PPE. They're fighting over how often should they test for COVID. Now you have all the CDC shenanigans about if you don't have any symptoms, you need to go back to work after 5 days. It's like the water is getting muddier and muddier, and it just creates so much discontent. I think it will require legislative intervention, but until then, what do we do? So these classes, this training, this coaching program is designed to kind of hold your hand and give you a place where you can let your hair down, you can share your frustrations, and at the same time, you want to learn, how can I survive? Because at the end of the day, you need a job. I need a job. I would prefer not to be going into these facilities. I went into a facility last week, and it was they had a COVID outbreak, and I've had COVID. I'm a little bit paranoid about it, but at the end of the day, I'm like, you can't dig a hole and hide. You still have to go. Just like I'm saying, our LTC staff need to take care of patients. I still need to take care of patients because I think I have a contribution to make. So when you get into a job like this, when you get promoted, I talked about, do you have what it takes in one of the previous lessons? You need to enter into this position with your eyes open, especially now, okay? There are a set of skill set that if you don't have it, you're gonna crash and burn, you're not gonna last, or you're gonna be so frustrated, you're going to pay the price, maybe physically, maybe relationally in your family. Something's gotta give, right? So I'm just trying to help you to just have a little bit more meat that's gonna hold you up. Remember that in this situation of COVID, staffing shortages, total disarray inside your facilities, you can only work on yourself, okay? And you hope that if you hold yourself up, You feed yourself every day. You pump yourself up. You got to be your own cheerleader, of course. You don't need to depend on your boss to say, oh, you did a good job. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did my best today. I took care of my patients. I took care of my employees. Therefore, I did good. So when you get promoted, there is a difference. So we're going to say, you need to own your position, okay? Regardless of how you came into the position. Were you hired from within, promoted from within, or were you hired from outside? First thing you need to know, of course, you have to do your due diligence. And I talked about that in the previous lesson. You need to learn about the organization, the facility. I mean, some of them are worse than others. So hopefully you're gonna go into one of those that are usually a little bit better. But if it's not, and you have to have the job, you need the money, they made you an offer you can't refuse, it works for your kids, for your family, go in there and say, I'm gonna try to do my best. So do your due diligence. Talk to some staff members, people who've worked there. Go on Glassdoor and read the reviews. Like I said, if 10 people are saying the same thing, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So now, if you get hired, you need to learn the culture of the organization, okay? So by doing your due diligence, you're gonna find out, how does management work? Does your middle management, are they hands-on? Do they care? Do they jump in and help? Do you have a supervisor who's gonna, I don't have a choice but to be on the cart sometime like I did, but what is their attitude? What is their attitude towards the staff? Do they acknowledge your effort? Are they positive? Do they thank you? Do they celebrate you? Find out all these little details that can make or break you. It makes life more bearable if they do those things. So once you understand the culture, understand how decisions are made. As a supervisor, if I have an idea, do I feel comfortable going to my boss, my DON, and sharing that? Are they open to that? Or it's like, don't even, just shut up, don't even mention it, right? So learn the culture. And then once you get that position, if you come from the outside, it's a lot easier. You can be objective. You're on the outside looking in, you take notes, and you can go from there. If you're hired from within, it makes it tougher because the people who you used to hang out with, used to go out, get a drink, go happy hour, have lunch. Now you are their superior. And I say superior tongue in cheek because you just have more responsibilities. As a supervisor, you have a lot more you're responsible for, but your workload has increased exponentially, right? So what is a supervisor? It's someone who is responsible to get the job done. You're not the manager, you're not managing budget, you're not responsible for outcome pretty much, but although you are, but you're kind of responsible for the troops, make sure the patients are bathed and fed and taken care of, right? And then, so now you're gonna have to do the transition. Let's just do this point because I'm looking at the time. My intro was kind of long. So if you get promoted from within, you're gonna have to give your team members a bit of a time to transition to see you in your new role. What you don't wanna do is apologize for being picked for the position, being promoted, being hired. No. Self-esteem is a good thing you need to have because you cannot worry so much about, oh, I don't want them to be mad at me. I want them to still like me. I did a video about how to not make friends and influence people. You have to be responsible for your position. You got A, B, C, D to do. Stop, chop, chop. We got to get it done. I understand. We were buddies, but now this is a whole different ball game. So you give them time. You understanding that they need to see you in a different light. So that's why you can't be going and have little cliques. You can't be going to lunch with this group and not that group. And we're going to talk about how you want to treat everybody equally. But right now I'm talking about transitioning into your new role. And then you still have to hold their feet to the fire. It's like, Yes, we were buddies, but now I'm your supervisor, and this is what I expect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're gonna get it done. Okay? So don't be afraid to be assertive. Being assertive is a trait you're gonna have to develop. Okay? So I'll talk to you soon. Au revoir, à la prochaine.